honest, too real. She's probably oversharing. Here's Tori. Welcome.
So I have had an Airbnb down in Florida for a little over 2 years now. I bought it thinking like it would be like this fantastic idea, it would make all this money, and it ended up being honestly one of the most crazy experiences of my life. You don't think about whenever you do something like that, like the real life aspect of it. Like, what is my day to day going to look like whenever I make this decision and do something like this? So, the property management part of it was fucking insane. Uh, so, I have so many stories, and I'm sure that they will come up over time. But anyway, so I decided I have had it up to here. I can't do it anymore. It's driving me crazy. I also co-own a salon. I run the operations. I do like the all the growth and the marketing stuff for that, as well as like a bunch of other things that I try to do like in my white space. Uh, so I'm like, forget it. We got to turn this thing into a long-term rental, which is funny because that was always my original plan before we bought the property. So I start looking, I try to like research like the landlord apps and what are the laws in Florida for holding the deposit and all the stuff, right? Uh, thank God there's stuff out there. So I ended up using an app called Turbo Tenant. And between that and ChatGPT, it's all, we got it. And I know that I'm going to have to rent it as a short term until I find a long term renter. So I didn't go down and empty the place out until I found a renter. So I have a bunch of different people apply. I had people messaging me on Facebook Marketplace, which y'all know is a crazy fucking place. Like, good lord, there's some weird out there on there. So I find a nice couple. They're married. They got a couple dogs. He's like disabled from the military. They get a check every month, and I'm like, bet that sounds that sounds chill. They meet all the criteria. So I'm like, perfect. Um, I'm excited to have somebody that's gonna take care of my place. So lease gets signed Monday last week, and I reschedule the rest of my week, which luckily I only had people on Tuesday and Friday that week. So I work all day Tuesday. I had rescheduled my Friday people for the next Monday, and it's like the week before Christmas. So I work behind the chair as a hairstylist, like as well, right now, currently. So it gets crazy the week before Christmas. Like the last 2 weeks before Christmas, the salon is like it's a circus. It truly. And people come, they call in with all kinds of wild shit and things you wouldn't expect. It just gets nuts. So I get everything rescheduled. Tuesday, I get done with work at like 8:30, 8:45, and I gotta drive all the way down to like Florida because my rental's in Florida. So it's 6 hours from where I'm at. So, but I got like undiagnosed ADHD. Okay, recently found this out. Somebody that like works for me like said something, and she kept saying it. I just thought she was like kidding, bro. I really did. I thought she was like making jokes. Ah ha ha. Yeah, my ADHD, bro. No, like we had a client come in one day, and she was talking about like her up and down, like just like mood swings and like bouts of depression and like all this stuff. And I was like, wow, like she sounds similar to kind of like this thing that I have. But I was just thought like, you get depressed, you get like seasonal depression or like, I don't know, weird stuff, right? And I'm talking to her, and she's yeah, it's like for my ADHD and stuff like that. And I'm like, really? Like what exactly does that mean? And she's like, yeah, like your brain doesn't get enough dopamine, so it's like you have like these like slumps, and sometimes it's like hard to do stuff. And I was like, oh, oh. And then I spiraled and like rabbit holed down that whole thing, and I was like, oh my God, like I've already figured out how to cope with like being myself, but this is a new level to be self-aware at. So anyways, so just a preface so y'all kind of understand my way as we journey along on this little podcast thing that I'm doing solo dolo. So I gotta go down to Florida. Well, there was 2 nights that week. Okay, I'm trying to get to fucking Costco, man. Like I just wanted a pumpkin pie. Okay, and if you guys don't know this, they have these pumpkin pies that are like they're like 14 inches or something. They're huge. They're massive. Like they're big as like a medium-sized pizza from like Pizza Hut. Okay, and they're like 5.99. So when this time of year hits and they have them like consistently, I I get my ass there regularly and I get a pie and I eat it in the nighttime and I eat it for breakfast. Okay? Not like every day, but it's something that I do. And I enjoy it. Okay? Sometimes I want the pie cold, sometimes I want the pie warm. Just depends on the day. I never put whipped cream on it though. That is a big no. So each time I had tried to make it to Costco, I was leaving work and I've been doing like some coding and stuff like that. So like I had some systems that I was working on that like they bug out and they break, and so I ended up like sitting up there on my laptop, and then I think one day I stayed late with like an employee helping them with something. So each time I tried to make it to Costco, you know, by the time I made it to the exit on the way home where Costco is, it was literally like 3 minutes before they closed. So I was like, I'm not gonna make it to the parking lot. And look, I will absolutely like skirt in that bitch like 5 minutes before they close. And I know it's bad, but I'll run. I'll be out by 8:30 when they close, but I will do it. I've done it. So I leave I leave in time. I get there at I think like 8:22, and I'm like, "All right, bet. Run through, get my pie." I had called ahead. I got them to make 2 pizzas, which their pizzas are also huge. And for just like a regular generic pizza, their pizza is pretty good. It's as good as any just like mid-level place. So I get one for me, one for my husband Sean, because I'm about to leave him for a handful of days. And then I had a bunch of cookies from work too. So I got home and I was like, dude, I just want to shower. I had hair all over me. That you don't talk about this much as a hairstylist, I suppose, or like people, regular people don't know this, but like when you cut hair, especially if you cut men's hair, which I cut a lot of men's hair, you're covered in it, man. It's in your belly button, it's in your bra, it's in your shoes, it's in your socks. It's probably like just coating the inside of your lungs, if I'm honest. So I'm like, I gotta take a fucking shower before I get on this drive, man. So yeah. Anyway, so leave the pizza for him. I get on the road. I'm eating the pizza. I'm eating some cookies, trying to like stay awake and whatnot because by the time I left, it was like 9:45. So I didn't get there until like I don't know. It was like 3 o'clock. So and I don't know if that's Central or Eastern because the time zone changed somewhere in the middle of that. But yeah. Anyway, so I get down to the Airbnb early Wednesday morning. And I already know what an impossible like feat this is going to be, but I live my life like this constantly. What was that one commercial and it was like live life on the edge? It didn't say it like that, but it would have been cooler if it did. That's my life. My life's like it's just I don't know. I feel like I'm always racing, you know? Um, so I have to drive back Friday. I wake up Wednesday morning. So I got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But ideally, I need everything in this house. Guys, having an Airbnb, like you're stocking it. Like it has everything. It's got utensils. There's fans, there's vacuum cleaners, there's so much linens because not only do you need one set for every bed, you need 2 or 3 sets for every bed because first off, cleaners don't know what the fuck they are doing, man. So like they lose sheets left and right. They don't organize them. I got a whole shelf in there labeled, It says duvet covers, comforters, king comforters, full comforters, twins, twin sheets. I got it. I went to Home Depot, made a whole shelf, labeled it with a label maker, did the whole thing. Do they use it? Absolutely not. They never use it. God, why make life easy on yourself? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So, there's just so much to empty, and then also there's carpets in the place. Now, I know the carpets are not great, okay? Like, it's been a pet-friendly place for 2 years. They probably need to be replaced, but more than that, for what I got going on right now, they need to be shampooed. So, checklist for me in 3 days is husband wants all the TVs to come back with me. So, get 4 TVs off the wall, take them off the mounts, okay? Shampoo the carpets, sell every item in the house, including furniture, linens, and kitchen items, which the last two might be hard to go. So, yeah, I'm like, all right, cool. Cool, 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 cool. I'm going to get this done. My first priority when I wake up Wednesday, and I don't let myself sleep in very much, even though I got in quite late. My first priority is I have to list every single item in this house on Facebook Marketplace. Now, y'all, listen. I listed like 160 or 170 items, okay? I looked at my impressions yesterday on Facebook Marketplace. It was over 8,000, just to give you an idea. That's how many people looked at the stuff that I had. So, first day, I'm getting things listed, but it's tedious, Luckily, Facebook Marketplace has it where you can list 10 items at a time, but it's still tedious, it's still annoying, and no one fucking reads. No one reads. This is probably in my top 5 pet peeves. It's below the I'm too lazy to use my brain, so I'm going to use your brain thing that everyone does. That thing. The amount of people after the last handful of days selling these items that asked me where I was located after I sent them the address to the home is flooring. And quite frankly, my hope in humanity is just further lost. Anything that has to do with this Airbnb has just tanked it, honestly. So I get everything listed. I start having people come to pick things up in the afternoon. In case you're curious, the prime time for pickups is somewhere between 1 to 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. That's pretty much the height of whenever I sold all of my items. So I'm feeling good. I'm like, all right, cool. I got people coming to get things, but it's mostly little things, and I'm like, and oh, also while I'm down there, I have to clean out this fucking shed. So I have this shed in the back of my yard, and like, yes, it's handy to have a shed. It is. But there are dogs on the other side of the fence, and the neighbor next to me, the property was abandoned for a long time. So somehow this shed has got, well, for a while, I thought it was mice under it, okay? Mice mean a small little mammal, okay? No. No. So, and I feel like I knew this, but I hadn't seen it for myself through my own eyes. So I post an ISO in search of saying, need a shed clean out, $100 cash. So I start getting all these people hitting me up to come clean this shed out. I got this guy, and he hits me up, and he's like, I can be there in 10 minutes. I'm like, bet. So I send him the address, and he comes over. And I know what you're thinking, probably, some of you guys. You're like, ooh, that sounds dangerous, I don't know if I would do that. Yeah. All right. I've done martial arts for 11 years or something, okay? I can kill a guy with my bare hands. I'm not super sweating it as long as I can keep my eyeballs on him, okay? So, he comes over, he cleans out the shed, and I ask him, can he drag everything to the road? He drags everything to the road. And so he knocks on the back door. He's like, hey, ma'am, I got everything done. And I was like, all right, cool. So I go out there, and he's sweeping it up and finishing it all up. And I look, and there's this rat just kind of tossed to the side. And I was like, I look at him, I look at the rat, and he's like, oh yeah, you want me to get that? And I was like, yeah, yeah. If you could, please, that would be cool. Like, thank you so much. And he's like, yeah, yeah, I'll get it. And I'm kind of like putting my hand over my face. And I'm like looking at this rat, and I was like, did you And I make like a little like kicking motion, and he goes, oh, yeah, yeah, I did that. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, I would have done that too, for sure, for sure. And he was like, yeah. I was like, he like kind of snuck up on you. He was like, yeah, yeah. I was like, yeah, all right. And so he gets this fucking rat. So I'm like, cool, because like when I made the post, I was like, I don't want to clean out the shed because there's spiders in it, and like I put that I was scared of spiders. That's not true. It's a lie. I'm not scared of spiders, but I am scared of like poisonous spiders. And there was like some, I don't know if they were like the brown widows or the black widows, but the more ominous ones. They were in the shed. So I didn't want to deal with that. I had completely forgot about the rats, so I kind of felt bad for not, um, telling the guy. But, also, I got a pest control guy. He's coming out every month. So they got these boxes. It was kind of interesting. So the pest control guy came out day before I left. He showed me these boxes, and they put these things on there like they look like green churros, and they put them on these little spikes inside the box. And so I guess the rats go inside the box and they like nibble on it, and then they go off and they eventually like die. It like dehydrates them, so they further try to go eat other stuff everywhere, other places, and then they die. So I don't know. The pest control guy told me that it's good that none of them are dying in the box, because if they die in the box, that means they got greedy and they ate like the whole stick or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. So I don't know. I learn something new every day, I suppose. Anyway, so that's day one. We get through day one. Oh, I also had so I had a guy come. God, was it day one or day two? I don't remember. It all blurs together. So I'm just kind of telling you guys my strange Facebook marketplace. Like this is the most high volume. Like I emptied a whole house. So if you can imagine. So I got this guy. He comes by, and I'm not gonna say his name because you shouldn't say names on podcasts. But let's just say that his name was a planet. That was his name, So you could figure out which planet it was, pop an S on the end. That was this guy's name. So I had posted a picture of just one of the drawers of like utensils. It was just like can openers, just like random stuff. So he's like, oh yeah, like do you still got that? I'm like, yep, got it. Sent the address, come to the house. So he like shows up, and he's just like, I don't. He like smokes a joint in his car. He hops out, and he's like he smells like it. And then he was telling me how he went to the weed store up the street, because it's like in Florida it's recreation, or not recreational. It's not recreational. It's the other. It's medical. But anyway, I guess he got his shit set up. Anyway, he's telling me all this stuff, and he's just like, yeah. I start like bagging up the utensils, like the whole drawer for him, just trash bag. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna get this for my mom for her birthday. And I was like, word, word, word. And I was just like thinking to myself, like, that's kind of like an interesting gift. I don't know. Florida, y'all be on some weird shit, man. I met some weird people. Florida is weird. Ain't nothing like up here in North Atlanta at all. I don't think I'd particularly miss that. But it's cool. It's just culturally a little different. But I kind of laughed. And then the guy messages me later, and I'm like, I know I told this dude, like I mentioned my husband, like I said something. And he is like, oh, like I thought you were cute and wanted to see if you wanted to maybe like get a drink sometime. And I was like, no, like thank you, I appreciate it, but no. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like so weird. God, can you imagine like telling somebody that you like that's how you like met your husband? Like, oh yeah, I like went over like, or like I don't know, any significant like other in your life. Like, yeah, I went over to their house because they were selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and that just, asked them on a date. And like, that would be a crazy story. So, I mean, I don't know. Respect, I guess, for the guy shooting a shot, but also I'm just like, I told you I had a husband, and I remember that specifically because he was a real chatty Cathy. So it was weird, but anyway, fucking Florida, man. So I get through all of that. So I'm getting to the end of I'm getting to the end of the week. You know, on Thursday, I got most all the TVs down off the mounts. There was one of them in the living room, dude. It was mounted up really high. Like the bottom of the TV was at, I think, like my shoulder. Like it was pretty high up. My brother had mounted the TVs for me. He helped me do like a lot of the work whenever we got started doing the Airbnb. I go to get these TVs off the wall by myself, and the 43-inch ones were easy. They were so light, no problem. This one, dude, I was like, I'm about to fuck myself up. Like, I might have to ask one of these dudes that like comes through here or something like to help me. But I was like, I really don't want to do that. Like, honestly, I kind of hate asking people like for help. Like especially like if I don't know you. It's one thing if I'm paying you to help me, that's different. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure you guys get it. But anyway, so I'm like trying to be careful with my back because my chiropractor told me that I need to be really careful and make sure that I'm lifting with my legs because I got like a little shifty spot in my like lower back that we're working on. And I've been trying to work on my self-care this year, okay? So I'm like, all right. One of our friends recently too, like he like got his like back fucked up, and like I think he refucked it up recently, and it was because he was like helping somebody pick up a keg, and then they like turned the wrong way, and then like the weight shifted wrong. So I'm like thinking about all this stuff, you know what I mean, as I'm dealing with this TV. I'm like, oh, you could like easily mess this up, so like be careful. So I get under it. I'm like trying to get to the side of it, and I'm like, dude, I don't know how to get this thing. So I'm real careful, and I managed to get it by myself, and I'm thinking to myself, I cleared the couch off. Honestly, thinking about it now, I should have brought it closer in case it fell for real. But I was like, all right, well, if it starts to like slant, I'll just like, like to the couch real quick, and hopefully, it won't land like too crazy. But I did good. I managed to get it off. So the TVs were um that was kind of that day's checklist, you know what I mean? And I was starting to panic a little bit on Thursday as we reached the evening because the big items were not selling. The couch was still there. I still had these bunk beds. I had a sofa, two ottomans, like the first day I was like, oh, like I sold table and chairs. I had a bunch of people biting on the nightstand, so I thought like, oh, well, it'll be fine. Um, and then I was like, oh my God, it's not fine. I'm fucking panicking. Like I have renters moving in Saturday. So I think I failed to mention that to you guys. So they signed the lease on Monday. I drove my ass down Tuesday night after work. And then I'm supposed to have all the shit done essentially from Wednesday morning to Friday night. And then I'm going to drive back Friday night. And then Saturday morning, they move in, right? That's my timeline. Friday rolls around, and I'm like, okay, all right, universe, like help me out, man, we gotta move this stuff. So I got a bunch of people messaging me about the furniture, but one thing about Facebook Marketplace, man, is people are like, they're sketchy, they're unreliable, they're inconsiderate, they don't fucking read at all. And they'll tell you that they're coming to get something, and then they just like never fucking say a word. So you're like, okay, well, I did all I could do. I sent you the address, we set a time, all this stuff. In hindsight, I should have never held shit for no one, like at all. So in future, if you guys if you gotta have something sold by a certain time, say you're not holding it, not holding it. So Friday starts ticking down. I was supposed to have somebody come get the bunk beds. She couldn't make it work. It was this whole thing, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do if all this shit doesn't sell. And I'm shampooing the carpets. I had to re-shampoo the carpets because like the day, oh my God, when the exterminator guy came in, man, he came in with red clay on his boots, and he walked through the area that I had just shampooed it. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So I had to re-shampoo it. It was crazy. Anyway, so I get to Friday night. I get through the whole thing, you know, and it was crazy because like Thursday and Friday, like I woke up early. I had people picking stuff up as early as like 7:30. But I knew my goal was to leave by 6 p.m. And I knew I was like, there's no way I'm leaving before probably like 8 p.m. And if it's classic Airbnb, like classic bullshit that I always deal with when I come down here, I'm going to be leaving in the middle of the night. Because every time I have gone down there, I'm down there for like some kind of like thing. It's like a maintenance thing. You know, the last trip I took down there, oh my God, I won't burden you guys with the details, but just know it was 5 days of exactly what hell looks like. Okay? Hell looks like putting Gooby Gone and all the shit on a fucking old ass bathtub that's been painted, chipping the shit off for 6 to 8 hours, and just being high on the fucking fumes in a fever haze, just chipping it with a chisel until your hand blisters, you know? And then also, I think at that same trip, I had a leak in the sink, which I then discovered my crazy ass cleaning lady that I had, who I'm pretty sure got on fucking meth and lived in the house for like part of the time. Yeah, yeah, that thing. I still got her fucking child's birth certificate that she left there. She's crazy, crazy lady. I had paid them to fix this leak in the sink. Well, they didn't, and it was like the little flappy thing that goes up and down that will like hold water in the sink. So, uh, they had just put a towel under it. Dude, it was fucking crackhead behavior. So the whole thing is just like it's just like dry rotted. It's just like busted. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Like it can't be that hard to just get a new vanity. Like I'm pretty handy at this point after owning this property for a while, man. Like I'm not scared of a drill or like a little hacksaw or something. I'll get in there. I'll handle it. By the end of it, right? Long story short, because I won't fucking bore you guys with the details, but it just keeps dominoing and dominoing and dominoing and dominoing, and like that's pretty common for really old fucking houses. So just FYI, if you ever want to buy a property and it's like pretty old, like this house was built in 1953, you go, oh, it would be really simple to just like, just like change out the door jamb or like whatever. No, no, the fuck it's not. You better think triple times about it because oh my God, every item, fucking nightmare. So you better pay some money to like some other person that will do a good job, but like we'll deal with it because it's a fucking nightmare. But I'm down here, I'm handy, I'm there for 5 days, which for an Airbnb trip down is like an eternity. So I'm like, yeah, all right, I got it. By the end of it, my mom had given me this hacksaw to do a drywall patch because I need to like cut some drywall, and I ended up buying a new fucking blade for that thing and like sawing off the pipe because old pipes in houses, they're not necessarily PVC. So the ones in that house they're like I don't know if it's like copper, like I can't remember right now, but it's like the old ones that are in there. And so they had soldered like the P-trap pipe and all that shit to the one that sticks out of the fucking wall. And for all the ones of you who are like, I don't know what the fuck she just said, the P-trap, well, if you pop open your under like the cabinet in your like under your sink, there's a little thing. If you look at it, it looks like a P where it's like laying, where it's like a line is on the top and then the little scoopy parts on the bottom. That's your P trap, and it's shaped like a P, like kind of. I thought it was because it did something with P. No, it's strictly the shape of it. And so anyway, I had this crazy time. I thought I could pull it out. I had to get this degreaser. I got me a damn pipe wrench. I'm going back and forth to Home Depot twice a day, which is common whenever you're trying to fix something at a place. So I ended up just sawing that bitch off, man. Put me on some safety goggles and a mask and just fucking did that shit. And by the end of it, it was a race of time. Like I said earlier, that's my life. So I ended up having to call a fucking plumber. And the last time I was down here, I saw the job that she did. All she had to do, y'all, all she had to do was lace up the pipe. I had already bought the vanity, put it in the right place, screwed in all the faucet and everything that she needed. All she had to do was link it from the wall to the sink and then caulk the top edges. It's not that fucking hard. $1,200. $1,200, which Florida money is different than Atlanta money. She might as well have charged me like 2 grand or 2,300 Atlanta money, because like what the fuck. So I was ill when I went back and I like left her there to pay that. And I bet too, I'm gonna tell y'all something for real. I don't fuck with lady plumbers. Like, and I'm not saying if you're a lady plumber that like you can't be good at your job. I never insinuated that to this lady, but I had already given instructions to a man that like worked at that company and talked to him and everything. And he was super chill, But I guess like a fucking dummy, he doesn't check his cell phone. So I was like, okay, you're calling me on your cell phone. We're talking through the cell phone, but I sent you the door code through your cell phone. This is crazy. So he didn't check it. So when he went, he was like, oh, they had to send me to the next job. So he ended up sending his like I guess like his coworker or whatever out there. She was terrible. She was rude to me the whole time, as if like she thought that I thought she couldn't do the job well, which fucking guess what? You know, like she did it she did it mediocre, but she didn't follow my instructions, but it's fine, you know. But yeah, anyway, I was down here this last time and I was looking at it and I had all the pieces, y'all. I was missing one thing. It was like an extender that went from the sink down to like the P-trap pipe. I was so ill because it was probably a $5 problem and it ended up costing me $1,200. I was so ill. But anyway, I don't just my fucking ADHD. I know I derailed from like the whole fucking main story here, but anyway, so Friday, I got people picking stuff up. The bunk bed people abandoned me. I'm still trying to sling it. And every day, mind you, I'm going through and I'm re-editing the listing on everything, like dropping the prices, trying to get people to come through. So by the end of the night, I'm like, all right, fuck it. Like a bunch of the kitchen stuff I have left and just like random linens and stuff. So I post, like these items are free, right? So I got this lady come by. She comes in. First off, she smells heavily of weed, but she's chill. That's fine, that's fine. And so she comes in and she's like, yeah, like what all you got, And I was like, honestly, I haven't even like changed the listings on all this shit yet, but like all this stuff, everything you see on the counter, you see it. If you want it, it's yours. So she starts taking the stuff. I show her everything I got in the house left. I show her the bunk beds, and I guess because she's like high or whatever, like she didn't realize like I'm not saying you can have this shit for free. And so she's like trying to talk to her. She's like, let me go talk to my husband about it. He's out there. He's got a trailer or whatever, and so I like bagged up all the linens and all the kitchen stuff, and I was like, hell yeah, like take this shit. You know what I mean? Because I did not make a trip to Goodwill. Like y'all, I did so good. I did so good. I didn't have to take a trip to Goodwill. And you know what? Earlier that day, I didn't mention this. There's a lady that came by and bought like a bunch of the artwork and stuff that I had. She was so sweet. And this is one thing I do like about Florida. She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to Goodwill later if you want." Like my friend gave me this TV and he wanted me to take it to Goodwill or whatever. She's like, "I'll take some stuff for you." And I was like, "Oh my God, like that's so sweet." And so I gave her like a container of I didn't realize that I still had this, but it was like, dude, that cleaning lady that lived in my house left so many fucking buckets of clothes. So I thought I took all of them to the road and just trashed them the last time I was there, but apparently not, because I found another one in the den closet. So I gave that to her. She messaged me later and she's like, I'm gonna donate these clothes to the church or whatever. And I was like, well, hell yeah, I didn't have to go to Goodwill, so I was feeling pretty happy about it, honestly. So anyway, so this lady, she takes all that stuff. She's trying to talk to her husband about the bunk beds, whatever. And apparently, so he does like scrapping and like junk removal and stuff like that. So that pile that I had out by the front of the road from the shed, like they were just like, can we dig through it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So like I was out there just like chatting with them and stuff. They were real nice. And oh my God, so he finds the dead rat, dude. He finds the dead rat. And he like holds it up to his wife and he's like, what about this? You think we should take this? And she was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh yeah. So I tell him about the guy that like came and cleaned out the shed, and like I was like, yeah, I guess he just kind of like tossed it in here like randomly, and like, dude, it guys, it was so like this rat was like ultra dead. It was like 2 days old, so it was like all bloated and like just like stiff and like like it might as well have been like a corn dog, dude. It was like so stiff. It was so funny. But anyway, so they take whatever they want. I go back in the house, whatever, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like I gotta try to get out of here, man. So I still had more shampooing to do. I didn't want to do a bunch of carpet shampooing because I had people constantly in and out, so it made it difficult. I took all the rest of the security cameras down, which I'm hyped about. I'm gonna put them up at my house. They were not cheap, but they're really nice. They're like the Arlo brand. I don't know if you guys know about that brand, but like I've had Ring cameras. We got Ring cameras at the salon, and they're all right, but I like the Arlo ones because you can see a wider range of things, and I like their features. Like they're pretty cool. So I get all that down, and finally, fucking finally, I get in the car and I'm like, hell yeah, like, dude, I'm done. I packed the car. I managed to get all the TVs in the car, which, womp womp. When I got here, I didn't realize, guys, on the back of TVs, there's like screws for like the mounts and stuff. Well, I had like put sheets between them, but I had like kind of doubled them up because I was trying to make it to where they had like a little bit more cushion between them. So like some of the screen was like exposed. And bro, one of the fucking TVs had like a screw that like punched into one of them, and I'm like 90% sure it's busted. So that sucks. So 3 out of 4 TVs, but I was like, damn it, dude. I can't believe I fucking did that. That's like a classic Tory, dude. It's like try your hardest, but still something gets fucked up and lost in the mix. So I'm sitting in the car. I'm hyped. I'm ready to leave. I make me a little video. I post it on Instagram because I was updating everybody 24/7, kind of be like, hey, here's how it's going. You know what I'm saying? Putting videos up and stuff. For whatever reason, I had like this weird feeling to check. I got like the door code lock, right, by Schlag, which, by the way, if you get a door code lock, only ever buy Schlag. Only ever buy Schlag, okay? The other ones are not worth it. Get a more expensive one, okay? And maybe I'll circle back and tell you guys why later. Maybe I won't. So I'm sitting there, and for whatever reason, I'm like, let me just check the app really quick. And for whatever reason, when I had put their door code in, I had made it temporary because I was going to be down there, and like, I don't know them yet. I don't know if they're going to try to combine, just like enter the house. You know what I mean? So I just, for safety precautions, I made it temporary. Mind you, I have already pulled out the router. There's no more internet at the house, and the lock has to be on the same Wi-Fi as like the phone and all the stuff. So I'm like, God dang it, I can't believe I did this. So luckily the router was the last thing I pulled out of the wall, and it was in the back seat on top of everything. So I get out of the car, I get the router, I go back inside, I plug the router in, I gotta wait for it to like boot up. It's not booting, it's not booting, it's not booting. Finally it boots up, and the app is not wanting to save the code. So I'm like, oh my God, dude, what a mistake. I should have fixed this on the first day that I was here. So finally, it goes through, and I'm like, oh, finally. And so I gotta pull back out of the wall, pack it all up, and then, at this point, I'm like, oh, God, fuck. So then I gotta flip all the lights on and walk through the whole house again to make sure I didn't miss something. Because now I was feeling so confident when I sat in the car, but now I'm feeling like I probably fucked something else up. I didn't. So I went through, turned all the lights back off, left the light on for them because I had FaceTimed them earlier, and they were driving, you know, they were moving from across state. So they were on the road too. So I thought that was funny. They were like, yeah, we're going to get there around like 6 in the morning. I was like, that's funny because I'm going to get home around 6 in the morning. So finally, I get back in the car, and I'm like, oh my God, I can leave. But by the time I leave, I mean, it's late. It's like 11:45, 12 o'clock. So I get on the road. I had taken 2 B vitamins earlier, which, y'all, I don't do caffeine no more, okay? I quit, like, it's been like over a year ago. just because like my anxiety, dude, it makes my anxiety crazy. It gives me like, I'll be like hot, I'll be like sweating. I thought it was hot natured for years. It turns out it was just like caffeine sweats, dude. And I'll literally like never get back on it like habitually ever again because it like when I got off of it, I was depressed for like 4 months. Like I was like I don't even know what the fucking purpose is of like life, you know? Not like that I was like I'm gonna kill myself, just like what is it, you know? Because I feel like a blob. But you know, eventually you get past that, and it doesn't work that way for everyone. Most people have like 2 weeks of headaches and they're good, but for whatever reason, my body functions differently, built different. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I get in the car, I get going, I'm feeling fine, you know, and then I finally make it to where I'm about to get on the interstate, and I had to drive through fucking Flomaton, and like, God, that fucking town, dude, it's just like there's nothing in it. It's terrible. I once waited at a Whataburger for 45 minutes there before deciding, you know, this just is not fucking worth it, man. Um, so I stop, I get a little coffee, and and the guy at the gas station, he's like, "Well, everyone's on the road tonight," and I kind of giggled like inside because I'm like, "You work at a gas station? Everyone's always on the road. That's kind of like the whole fucking thing, you know." But anyway, he was nice, and so I got back in the car, and dude, I was fucking zooming because I don't have a lot of caffeine generally. So I'm on the road. I'm going. I had a book that I finished, and then I had another one that I started on grammar, which is a terrible idea. Don't listen to really technical books when you're on a drive in the middle of the night. But I have this app. It's called Endel, Endel. It's not necessarily for people with ADHD, but it is just like it's helpful. It's like a AI like music thing. You can kind of tell it what you have going on, and it just kind of scratches that little dopamine itch in your brain, which you know, for the people that do have it, like that's our biggest problem. We're like dopamine deficient, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to get my little multivitamin. So I put that on in the background while I was listening to the audiobook, and it was pretty cool. So I finished that, and then I started another book on writing called Save the Cat, the one for novels. So that was interesting. Also, just the name of that book is interesting, so I was like, yeah, I'll fucking read it. So I stop at Buc-ee's, which if you guys don't know about Buc-ee's and you're ever like on the interstate and you pass one, you shouldn't have passed it, you should stop. So I go in Buc-ee's because the last time Sean went on a trip, he brought me back a cinnamon roll, and that thing was so good. I never have had a cinnamon roll from there before because honestly, when you go there, the options are overwhelming. So that's just a thing I had never had. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna get some for us. And also, it's just like Buc-ee's is like really fucking bright. It's loud. There's always a bunch of people there, and their bathrooms are always stellarly clean. And they also have like the little thingies on the walls where you like pump pump pump, and it's got the cleaner where you can like wipe the toilet. And like, why don't all toilets have that? Um, because otherwise you gotta like try to like put down this like little like paper seat cover, especially if they ain't got the seat covers, and like I just don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like why? And like it's like self cleaning essentially. Like if you work at slash own that place, like the toilets are always clean because people are always cleaning them. Like kind of seems like a no brainer. But I've learned that you know the world is not ran by people who have common sense at all. At all. So whatever. Anyway, end rant off the soapbox. So I go to Buc-ee's and I'm looking around and like, dude, there's like a bunch of like 40-year-old women there that are like dressed like I don't know, like nice for the Buc-ee's to be like kind of in the middle of nowhere. They're fucking drunk, dude. And they're like, "Oh my God, they have food." And they're just like running around and I was like, "This is weird." Cuz it's like 3 a.m. or something like that. It's like 3 a.m. and I'm at Buc-ee's. It might have been 4 a.m. I don't know if the Buc-ee's is in Central or Eastern time. So that part of the trip was real confusing for me. Anyway, so I get my shit and I get back on the road and I make it home. I make it home just as the sun's coming up, and I'm like, all right, cool. So I also have to work on Saturday, and then we got the Christmas party, right? So this was, for me, this was yesterday. So I, I'm like, oh my God. So I set my alarms. My dogs are going nuts when I get home. And I'm like, all right, I got 3 hours before I have to go to work. So I'm trying to get them all back settled again and just go to sleep, because like I had coffee. I'm kind of like wired. I had those two B vitamins and I'm just kind of like jittered up from the ride. But like, luckily, my body was just like, yeah, like it's just tired just from all the shenanigans of the week. So I was dead for 3 hours and then I woke back up. I was like, all right, hell yeah. So, um, then I'm like scrambling around that morning. I got to get Sean to like help me. I don't want to leave the TVs in the car because somebody could just bust my windows and like take the TVs. And I know what some of y'all are thinking. Some of y'all are like, oh, like that would never happen. That's, like like it's not that many bad people in the world. Like, no, fuck you guys. It is not true. Okay, I already had one of my windows busted in this year because I was down in Atlanta, and Sean had a backpack in the back seat, and luckily a bunch of the guitar gear and stuff didn't get taken, but that fucking backpack got yoinked, dude. So, if you guys think that, you need to like reprioritize like your thought process on that stuff because it's real and it happens. But I will tell you this, to replace the window, smooth $221. Don't report it on your insurance. Just get that shit changed because it was really not that big of a deal. But there's probably glass in my door forever, But anyway, so I'm I got real concerns, because I got past trauma. So I get Sean up. I feel bad because he looks dead. He's like so asleep. But I had told him the night before, so I get him up, and we're both like zombies, like walking the car trying to get the stuff out, get the TVs out, and then he notices. He's like, I think one of them's broken, and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man! Like I tried so hard. I was so careful. I stacked everything so, like particularly, and like the stuff that I did load in the car, like I loaded like around and like precariously above the TVs. So, but luckily the 60-inch one, it didn't get fucked up. So we're good on that one. So I get in my car to go to work and I'm like emotionally overwhelmed because I drove all night and I barely slept. So this whole week I delicately tried to like balance like the self-care, right? I did try to make sure that I got enough sleep and water and food, and like I even was drinking a Pedialyte like all day the day before because I was feeling a little dehydrated for some reason. And so I'm like on my way to work and I'm like a couple little tears came out, because I was just like, fuck, like I really tried hard. I literally tried so hard, and this trip was like, like it was cool. It was like an ending of a chapter for me, but it was like a race to the end of it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, girl, you gotta get it together. So I order myself some Starbucks. I get myself a big chai tea latte, the biggest one. And I went to Starbucks because a bunch of people fuck the chai up. They mess up, like Black Rifle Coffee Company. If you ever hear this, you need to fix your chai. It tastes like milk with a small exhale of chai. It's bad. It's very poorly done. So I went to Starbucks because they get that stuff right. And I got me some egg bites and I was on my way. Text my client, my first client. I was like, hey, like I just came back from like dealing with this thing with my property. I'm gonna be late. And she was cool. And so I got there, but I had a crazy day. My day was like double booked all day. And then I had like three colors, couple haircuts, and then in the middle of that too. So there had been this thing ongoing all week where there was this girl that and every once in a while this thing happens. So like sometimes like in running a business with like what you do, there's like these like very strange, far out, obscure little things that you like stumble upon, or like people will call you for every once in a while. And so one of like a couple of those things would be like, oh, I got a lot of paint in my hair, I need somebody to get the paint out of my hair. Okay, people call us for that. We're not trained in that. They don't tell you anything about that at school. We don't know the fuck about that. I mean, but like will do stuff because we're hairstylists, you know. Naturally, most hairstylists, for the most part, if you get them like at the beginning of the day, we're all hustlers, dude. We're down. We'll do it, you know. Is your cash green? Cool. Like we're in there. So this lady calls like while I'm gone, and like mind you, while I'm gone, I'm still like answering the salon phone some here and there. I got a manager that's like dealing with things, but like we normally have two. One of them just had a baby, so it's like it was just a really weird week for me to leave. But I'm really grateful that I do have help, like because if not, like I wouldn't be able to do some of the things that I need to get done. I'm talking to this girl on the phone, and she's like, yeah, like I got like this like mat in my hair and I need to get it out. And I'm like calling around, like nobody's really like wanting to deal with it. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be just super honest with you. um no one wants to deal with that. It's like risky on both ends because like we may not be able to get all the knots out. You know, you may not be happy. We may have to cut it anyway. You know, it's like this whole like liability thing. I was like, but like I'm sure there's somebody like it's real close to Christmas that like I'm sure there's somebody at the salon that like would want to help you. So let me try to get that all set up. Send me some pictures or whatever. And I know you guys are probably thinking to yourself like, oh, like some knots. Like it's probably not like that crazy, right? Like some matted hair. No, no. I have seen some crazy things before. I had a girl come in one time and it was literally like it was like big around as your fist. And she had just for whatever reason tied her hair in one of those loose and sloppy buns and then just like slept and showered and all of it slept on it for like a week. And it just turned into a ball of hair that's just like it's so tangled and it gets like hard and it literally starts to like turn into a like a lock. And you can't like you can't, it's tough. You can try to cut into it and you can try to like pull out as much as you can, but at the end of the day there's going to be some sacrifice. It's just facts, you know. So this lady, so she's come in for multiple sessions during the week. The girls had decided on a price. They got her to sign the liability waiver, all the stuff. And so she, they're dealing with that. And then honestly, they made really good progress on it. But so Saturday, the chick's there and there was like a pricing thing and she didn't understand. So then in the middle of like all the chaos, like I'm just trying to get my day done, dude. I'm running behind. I'm feeling pretty delusional, like just from lack of sleep and over caffeination since I don't generally caffeinate, So then I got to go in there and like talk to her and do the whole you know, like boss thing, which is an interesting skill that I've like started to get this last year. It's like if when you're having to deal with people and they're starting to swerve into like a negative, like you kind of have to be like firm, but then like empathetic, but then not too empathetic because like they're gonna try to take advantage of you. So then you gotta yank back firm again, and then like be nice and just kind of be like, yeah, this situation sucks. It's like a whole thing. So I gotta go do that with her. Meanwhile, I'm running behind. So finally, fucking finally, my day ends, and I'm like, oh my god, like I can't believe it. Like I did it. Like the chapter of my life with the short-term rental has ended, and like this day, this nightmare week, like it's all ended. But we have like a work Christmas party. So then, like I had to like go do that and stuff. But that was chill. And it was honestly it was a really nice way to top off the week. But I was so tired like by the time I got back home. And then I literally got home last night. Oh, and then one of my clients had like given me some perfume. Dude, I think I'm allergic to it. I had like and I'm mind you guys, I'm not a big like makeup person, perfume, like any I'm pretty plain for someone who works in the beauty industry, which is like kind of funny. And I did have lash extensions for a little while. I need to get those back going because, like, listen, ladies, lash extensions are fire. Everyone should have them. You gotta have a good person who knows how to do them right. But like, oh my God, they make your life so like easy. Like you do gotta like wash them every day and stuff. But I mean, like you wake up looking ready to go. You look good. You know what I'm saying? Like that stuff does make a difference. And I know what some of you guys are thinking. You're like, oh, like you're thinking about that lady at Walmart with like the lashes that look like they're about to like take flight. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about some classically nice, well done, you know, they look natural, but they just a little more extra. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. But anyway, so I got through all that. So that shit was that was crazy. Um, that was crazy, and it was funny because we were talking we were talking at dinner, and it's like we're going, what do you think? What do you think like those knots in her hair like came from? Like for real, you know? Because like people tell you, you know, when you've done hair for a while, like people tell you all kinds of stuff, but it's not true because people lie. The main stylist that was doing this, she goes, "Sex, it's from sex," and I was just like, "Yeah, that was my thought too. I thought the same thing." She just like, just not combing through it. She got all those highlights, and anyway, so that was crazy. That was crazy. In other news, I've been writing a book. And yeah, like my life is crazy. If anyone should be writing a book, it's probably not me. I don't know, I had an idea for one when I first started playing like D&D. I got super into my character and I like built him out all this like lore and stuff, and honestly it was like super exciting. I was like, "Oh, he's going to be like part of a cult," and like, you know, I don't know. So like fun. And now, you know, of course like the story like has completely flipped on its head and it's changed, and I kind of got to a point with it where I was just like, you know, like there was like this like big like climax in what was going on with like one of these characters, and I was like, dude, I just feel like, you know, because I have like essentially like four POVs in this book. Like I really settled on a complicated way to write a first book. Like adding a bunch of characters and stuff. And I wrote it all in first person too, so it's very like raw, I guess, maybe intense. And so I kind of got through all these scenes, and then I wrote them like kind of scene by scene too, like by POV, and I labeled them in, and that's how I did it. I did it in Google Drive because you can start just like multiple tabs. So I'm like, okay, I am not really sure where to go from here, because the next like thing that I wanted to do was going to go more into kind of like a lull, and it was going to get not like boring, but it was just certain things that needed to be laid out, but it wasn't like killing somebody or like, you know, like action, you know, like stuff like as big as that I had just done. So I literally and you guys will learn this, but I'm a huge fan of ChatGPT. Yes, like there's certain ways that you should use it. No, you should not marry ChatGPT. It's not a person, it's a tool. But anyway, so I'm like, okay. So I start like plugging in the story. So I basically go through and I'm like, all right, here are the scenes that I have, and here's just kind of like what's happening, like the ups and the downs and all that stuff. And I get through it, and it's just like, yeah, well, that's because your book is done. You're feeling this way because your book is done. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I was like, that makes sense because it feels done, actually, now that you say that. So now I have to go back and like edit the whole like first half essentially, because I never had done like a bunch of like writing stuff before. So I personally feel like the first half of the book like sucks because I was like I hadn't kind of figured out my groove and my style yet. And the last half of the book I started to lean in and kind of get a feel for, I don't know, it's weird to think about like your writing like style because it's not just prose, it's like, I don't know, it's everything. It's like the emotion, the attitude, I don't know, like how you build your sentences. Like I never really looked deeply into grammar before this, and I'm not going to say that I'm necessarily super stellar at it now, but I've been reading some books on grammar and on style, and you know, I've read like a handful now on like story building, and I don't know, it's been really interesting because like I'm not particularly interested in grammar. I mean, grammar is fucking grammar, dude. That's like kind of boring. But there can be style in how you execute it, you know. And I was thinking about it. This lady sent me a message on Facebook Marketplace the other day, and I was like, bro, what the fuck did you just say? Because it was in all lowercase, there was no commas, there was no periods, there was no way to just like, I looked at it, and maybe it's because I've been like doing, like learning more like grammatical things, but I was like, I'm not even gonna waste my time reading your fucking sentence and trying to figure it out because like I'm not selling you anything, I guess. Like because I don't have the time or the mental capacity to read this blob of words that you just like flung at me and expected me to decipher for you. Yet another like pet peeve. Same thing I mentioned earlier of people wanting you to use your brain because they're too fucking lazy to like use their own. So yeah, I have that going on and I have so many mixed feelings on it because I'm excited. The story came out not at all how I thought it was going to be, but I really like love what I have. So it's kind of like a like dark fantasy, like gothic, like it's going to be a series. And I thought originally it was going to be 3 books, but honestly, after finishing this one and some of the plot points I want to get to, I'm like, oh God, it might be 5. So I also did that the weird way of like, who just starts out writing like a series and not a singular book? Like, it's silly, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm enjoying it. I don't know how I feel about going back and like making all of the revisions and stuff, but I think that's because I just dealt with all this Airbnb stuff. So whenever I have a little bit of a mental break and I'm ready to kind of get back to it, then I think I'll feel a lot more excited, but I kind of juggle things in 2 week stages. That's just how my brain and my like I get bored with things, I guess. So I just kind of work really hard on things for 2 weeks and then I switch to something else usually. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for listening.